Welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast on the From the Heart Business Network. You've joined a global movement of sales professionals who are dedicated to being authentic and building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. Together, we're on a mission to bring sincerity and substance to the sales profession we all love. Get ready to be inspired and equipped as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Darrell Amy.
Hiring salespeople based on a resume or a great interview is like drafting players based on their Instagram highlights. They look amazing in the clips. That's until the real game starts.
Exactly. Every CEO's been there. The interviews go great. You think you're bringing a top performer onto your team, but once they hit the field, they can't close, won't prospect, and blame the leads.
That's exactly why we recommend Sales Index Unlimited Candidate Assessments. It's your sales recruiting engine that screens every candidate against 21 proven sales competencies, benchmarked against 2.5 million sales professionals worldwide. That is more than a personality profile. You'll know with confidence who can sell and who will actually do the work.
Because the best teams don't just fill positions, they build a bench. They're always scouting for great players who can perform under pressure.
For just $2.99 a month, you can build your own bench of ready-to-sell talent, coachable, driven, and proven before they ever get the jersey.
So stop guessing, start scouting like a pro.
Go to unlimited.salesindex.ai. That's unlimited.salesindex.ai and start building your next sales all-star team today. Hello, and welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host, Darrell Amy, here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
It's a great day here at Selling from the Heart, Darrell. Always good seeing you. We're in for a treat. You know what? I love hanging out at the Selling from the Heart podcast studio when we have great guests, and today's no exception.
We're going to talk about trusting yourself with our friend Elyse Archer. This is going to be an amazing conversation. Speaking of amazing, we've got amazing friends all over the world. And as this podcast audience continues to grow, and as this movement of Selling from the Heart continues to grow, we love giving a shout out to one of our friends each week.
Yeah, absolutely. And in this season of life, I just want to give Jay Holden a special shout out. He's a dear friend of mine. I had a really great conversation with him last week. I'm cheering you on. You may not be in the perfect situation right now, but in this season of life, things will all get better, but we're cheering you on.
That's absolutely right. Well, hey, today's guest helps sales professionals unlock something more powerful than any script or strategy. It's their identity. Elyse Archer is a sales coach, entrepreneur, and thought leader who specializes in helping ambitious professionals break through income ceilings and build businesses aligned with who they truly are. Through her coaching and programs, Elyse empowers high-performing women and sales leaders to shift from hustle-driven selling to identity-driven success. She teaches that confidence isn't just something you fake, it's something you build from the inside out. And when your sales approach aligns with your values, strengths, and purpose, results accelerate naturally. Wow, this is going to be a great conversation. Elyse, welcome to Selling from the Heart. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. Oh my gosh, Larry, Darrell, this is going to be so good. I feel such good energy already around it. So I'm excited to dive in. Hard not to feel it with both of you.
No, it's all good. Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, you know where this all begins, and this question we ask every guest on the Selling from the Heart show. What does Selling from the Heart mean to you?
So I love this question. I was contemplating it a little bit before the show. To me, it means selling literally with the feeling of an open heart. And for many years in my life, I didn't know what that meant. If you said selling with an open heart, I'd say, sure, I sell with an open heart. But it wasn't until I had an experience about 5 years ago that really transformed my life, where I realized for so long, for decades, how my heart had been closed off. And I was trying to force outcomes and make something happen outside of me. And from that place, things, including sales, even though I was good at it, it still always felt hard. I always felt like I was grinding and hustling and trying to Like I had to work so hard to get results. And when I had, it feels more like a spiritual awakening, wake up call type of thing for me. But when that happened, I had a moment where literally I felt like my heart kind of blew wide open and I understood what it meant to feel whole again. And from that place, um, certainly there's days and seasons where I have human moments and where things feel more challenging than others. But generally, I like to lead my life feeling like I have an open heart. And that's a feeling that you know if you have it. And if you don't, again, I was there for decades and didn't know. But I try to live my life where I'm only acting and operating from a place of openness and wholeness. And I find that what flows from that is the thing that creates what other people might say are quantum leaps or far, far different results than you would get if you were trying to manufacture an outcome, but secretly feeling scarcity or fear or having that closed heart feeling. So that is what selling with an open heart means to me.
Oh, this is so good, and we got to dig into some more of this, Elyse, because I get what you're throwing out there. I know so does Darrell, and I know the vast majority of our listeners, they're buying into this, but there's some going, "Come on, really, Elyse? Open heart, selling from the heart, tie all of this together." You got to expand on this some more and why this is so important, given where we're at today and how people are viewing salespeople and sales leaders.
Yeah, I'm happy to. And I can share, it might be helpful just to share a little bit of my personal experience and story here. So my background was in corporate selling, and then I decided to become an entrepreneur, start a coaching business. I have been in sales coaching for a really long time, and always was pretty successful, I will say, compared to probably a lot of people's standards, and always did well. And yet for over 10 years, no matter how hard I worked, I was always stuck at a certain income threshold. So anyone who's listening can maybe relate to feeling stuck at a certain point in your life. Like I'm grinding, I'm doing the things, I'm taking the right actions, but why do I feel like I can't get ahead? And I'll tell a very just condensed version of the story. About 5 years ago, I had a couple things happen in my life at once that made me really decide I was done playing small. And I realized how much of my time was spent up in just being consumed, thinking about making enough money. How did I look compared to other people? All of the kind of outer exterior things. But at the same time, one of my good friends, who was also my podcast co-host at the time, had passed away in his sleep at age 39, leaving behind a wife and five kids. And he wasn't that much older than me. And I was reading a book by Bronnie Ware called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And she sat on people's deathbed and asked them what their number one regret was before they passed. And the biggest thing that they said was, I wish I had had the courage to live a life true to me rather than what everyone else expected of me. And at that time in my life, I remember reading that. Our first son was 4 months old. And it was really just this wake up call of how much I was doing what I now call putting my life on layaway. I had such bigger visions for my life, aspirations that involved making way more money. I wanted to retire my husband from his night shift respiratory therapy job, which he was doing during COVID, so he could pursue his dream of medical school. I wanted to have $1 million plus business. I wanted to speak on the big stages and do those things, but I was always looking at someone else outside of me and saying, well, they can do it because they're special, different, unique, you name it. And I think it was the passing of Greg and then just becoming a mom all at once. It made me really look at my life and say, I'm done playing small. Hopefully I have a lot more time on this planet, but if I don't, I would not be able to go to my deathbed and say I really played full out because I've been hiding, I've been in fear. So long story short, I decided to do whatever it took to get out of my own way, to stop playing small, to kind of face my own demons, so to speak. Ended up investing $50,000 in 6 months of private coaching with a mentor that I didn't have the money, by the way. I did the thing because it scared the pants off of me to do it. It was half of what I made the whole year before. But I knew in the process, this person was operating and living at a level I desired to. And I knew at the process, I was going to have to face all my money demons. I was also going to have to face all my demons about how I didn't feel qualified for what I wanted, or I didn't think I was as good as other people. that experience of having to really look at myself in the mirror and look at all the limiting beliefs, all the places I hadn't been showing up where I said, well, I want that, but I'm not ready for it, or so-and-so is better qualified, et cetera. It put me in this almost like this little pressure container where I had to figure out how to get past it, because I had to figure out how to make my next coaching payment to her, right? And I was the breadwinner of family. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I just put our family in financial jeopardy, if I just ruined us. But it was such a powerful experience because I finally got under the hood and I finally started understanding the reason I was stuck, the reason I was struggling, the reason things felt hard wasn't because I didn't have the right funnel or the right script. It was because I didn't view myself as someone who was worthy of what I actually wanted. I didn't have the belief systems to back it up. And so I went all in and I was unavailable for it not to work. I was unavailable for things not to change. In 6 weeks of making that decision to invest in myself and get radically uncomfortable, I had the moment I mentioned before where I had what felt like a spiritual breakthrough. My heart blew wide open. I felt whole for the first time in a long time in my life. And from that place, from that feeling, I turned my annual income into my monthly income in 6 weeks after having been stuck for over a decade. Wow. And it wasn't by working harder. It was actually easier. And I worked less during that time. But one of the things that I learned, and then I'll turn it back over to both of you, is your results will never supersede your identity. And so for everyone listening today, if you have a desire of being top of the leaderboard, or you want to double your quota this year, whatever it is, stop focusing so much on what do I need to do to make that happen, but start asking, who do I need to be first? How do I need to think? How do I need to feel from that place? Yes. How do I need to act? But that's third. It's identity first, action second. And that shifted everything in my life. So I'll turn it back over to context.
Stop thinking about what you need to do and start thinking about who you need to be or who you actually are. Oh, that is so powerful, Elyse. It sounds to me like open heart surgery that, and maybe this is open heart selling, like all of this, like to go in and go, okay, let's really dig deep here. So take us on that journey, the inner work that you did and to really discover who am I? Who do I want to be?
Yeah. Well, I think what you said, Darrell, something I want to call out, and then I'll share a process that we teach in the community that anyone can do. But what you said is so important. It's not so much about I need to become someone I'm not. It's actually about remembering who you really are. And I think this is important because I remember when I was stuck and always struggling, I was always looking to someone else to tell me what I should want, what success meant for me. And I would look at other people's results and I would compare myself against them. And it was never good enough, right? It was never good enough. It wasn't until I gave myself permission to say, okay, this strategy isn't working. I'm burnt out. I'm depleted. I had an eating disorder. I was exhausted, like all of it. It wasn't good. And I started asking myself deeper questions like, who am I really? If I was on a desert island and no one was ever going to know how I lived my life, who am I? What do I care about? What matters to me? And I think when someone looks inside and asks that question, you start to find the truth of who you are. And what's powerful about that is each of us is unique. Some of the listeners listening to this, their dream, like who they really are, might be really well suited to maybe a laptop lifestyle where you're living and working remotely and you don't have a lot of possessions that you're carrying around with you and you want that freedom and that feels like who you really are at your core. Others listening to this are meant to be billionaires and have that lifestyle. And that's the truth of who they really came here to be on this planet. Nothing is right or wrong. It's about who are you really? And so that's where I think the work starts. Is tuning into the uniqueness of you, that fullest expression of you. And that was actually the wish I made that shifted everything for me right before my quantum leap. My first quantum leap was I had a birthday and instead of wishing for more money or a better house or a better car, I said, I want to experience the fullness of who I came here on this planet to be. And I think when you're looking at things through that lens, money itself is not meant to be your vision. It's meant to be the how of a lot of your vision. But so from there, you can say, who I really came here on this planet to be is someone who does X, Y, Z, retires their partner, has a mountain home, lives freely. And again, you've got to know for you. But then from there is a certain amount of money and sales that will help support you in that.
Mm-hmm.
So the process that we teach, it's something called old personality, new personality. And I have a free training that we can link for your community as well, if that's helpful.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah, but this is the first step I take most of my clients through. And I've heard it said this way, and I always like this way of thinking about it. When you have a goal, don't make it so much about manifesting the goal itself. Make it about manifesting the version of you with the goal accomplished. Ooh. The end result will follow. And so I'm a big, I don't know if either of you are Joe Dispenza followers or if you pay.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
It's awesome work. He's got this great quote. He says, or he talks about your personality creates your personal reality. And your personality is composed of how you think, how you feel, and how you act. And his work has been transformational for me in both increasing the amount of money I make. I also healed skin cancer with it. Like it's powerful work. So highly endorse it. But what I did when I was in the process of my quantum leap, before more money had come in and I was sitting there like, oh my gosh, I just put all this money on the line. I don't have any results yet. What am I going to do? I just started focusing on who I was being. And I looked at, and this is what I would encourage everyone listening to do, make a spreadsheet, a sheet of paper. It can be super simple. 2 columns. At the top, on the top of one column, you're going to write new personality. At the top of the other, you're going to write old personality. And then you're going to have 3 sections underneath that: thoughts, feelings, and actions. And what you want to do is look at, for someone with my end goal accomplished, they're selling with ease. They're making 250,000, 500,000 this year, whatever your goal is, $1 million this year, I don't care. What are their thoughts? What are they thinking? Right? They're not thinking thoughts of lack and scarcity. They're thinking, oh my gosh, there's so many opportunities out there. Right? So write that down. So many opportunities out there. They're thinking selling is easy for me. Write that down. They're thinking I should probably hire another assistant to help me because I got so much coming in. Write that down. Okay. What are their feelings? They're feeling probably calm, peaceful, at ease, grateful, abundant. Write that down. And then under actions, what actions are they taking? They're reaching out to people. They're connecting. They're planning a celebration dinner with their wife, with their partner. Write that down. And then that's what you want to align with. Under old personality, you're not going to make any of it wrong, but you do want to become aware and start to write down, what are the thoughts I'm thinking right now that I wouldn't be thinking from the end, right? I'm no good. I'm never going to succeed. So-and-so is better. You're not thinking that from your goal accomplished. Write it down. What feelings? Feelings are very addictive, especially stress chemicals. They're addictive to the body. So what stress chemicals am I addicted to right now? Is it feelings of lack, limitation, scarcity, self-doubt? Write it down under feeling state. And then actions. What am I doing that I wouldn't be doing from the end? Blaming, complaining, procrastinating. Write it down every day. And this takes intense focus. And I do this for me personally. I do it in my meditation. And then my goal is to embody it throughout the day. My goal is I want to align with the new personality. I want to be her. And you'll get opportunities throughout the day that'll test you. How are you going to respond? The way the old version of you would, or the way the new version of you does? The more that you make your goal, let me align with the new personality version of me, the results will take care of themselves. But the cherry on top, and then I'll turn it back over to both of you, is in the process, you reach a point where you suddenly, you practice feeling good so long that you feel good. And it doesn't need to have nothing needs to change outside of you. You're suddenly more confident, you're empowered, you're thinking differently, you're operating differently. You don't feel like you need the results to change in order to feel good anymore. And that's exactly when it happens. It happens right after that. I see it every single time with my clients. It's so cool.
Oh my gosh. This just like wow, my head's spinning because I'm like, somehow, Elyse, you're looking right at me when you're like talking. It's like, it's so funny when things like this happen. They happen for a reason, but it's why I believe this is an inside-outside world. It truly is an inside-outside world. And here's what I want all the leaders who are watching just to like zone in just for a second and hone in on this is not one iota of this conversation has anything to do with increasing somebody's skill set around selling. It's all mindset, heart set work. It's all that. Darrell and I deeply believe in this, Elyse, that it's all mindset and heart set that will raise all this other stuff. Sales leaders, this is what Elyse is speaking to. So thank you so much for just throwing a big, huge bow on this.
My pleasure. Well, and we're very aligned in that. And according to neuroscience, and you all know this, no doubt, because you teach it, 95 to 98% of our results come from our belief systems, our identity, our self-concept. It's 3 to 5% the actual actions you're taking, but those all stem from what you believe about the world, who you believe yourself to be. And I think that's why, and I've taught strategy skills for decades. Again, I get it. It's there. It's important. And why is it that two people on the same team can have the exact same playbook, the exact same things to do? One of them is consistently top of the leaderboard. One of them is at the very bottom. Why? It's not the skills. It's not the strategy. It's their identity. It's their self-concept. To your point, Larry, it's the mindset and it's the heart set. Figure that out first. Work on that first. The actions you take from a different identity will be very different, and they will have far greater results than trying to do it from the gap.
So beautiful. I think this is fantastic. And I do want to lean into our leaders here for a moment, because I think leaders have a tremendous opportunity to encourage and guide people on their team along this journey. Of course, the leader's got to go first, right? And you can't take someone somewhere you haven't been. But let's think about the leaders a little bit more in terms of how can they invite somebody on this journey, in particular a sales leader running a sales team?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. What I would say is, to your point, Darrell, it really helps when you're living it. So the more that you practice, and maybe you make your own old personality, new personality, and you start kind of playing with it and teaching your team, I think that's a great first step. But I think the deeper question that you can ask people when they come to you about their goal, or when you're talking about their vision, is to say, who would you need to be in order to have that, in order for that to feel natural and normal? Maybe you want to make a $50,000 bonus check or $100,000 commission check next month. Who do you get to be for that to happen? And then to coach someone in the self-awareness, because again, it's in life, in business and sales, we don't get what we want, we get what we are. So if you can coach and work with your people to actually become the version of them who's a match for that, where that feels natural and easy and normal, they're going to do it. It'll just be a matter of time, and it won't take long when they have that identity shift. And it's a beautiful gift to give someone.
So now we got to take this one step up the corporate ladder, Elyse. So Darrell started talking, speak to the sales leaders on the importance of all that. Let's ratchet this up just one more notch. Speak to the presidents of companies and CEOs of companies on why this is so important to build a culture like this.
Yeah, I think it's everything. And I think results speak for themselves. So I think if you ask anyone, a president, a CEO, and you say, look, we've all got the same strategy here. Everyone has the same playbook. Why is it that some people are consistently crushing it, blowing it? Like we know our people are predictable. We know what results they're going to get. We know our A players are going to come in here every single time. But why is it that our B or C players who have the same playbook, it's not the skills, or it's not the playbook that's different. Why is it that they aren't getting the same results? It's identity. And again, this is neuroscience based. So someone can go online and research this and get more information about it. But if an organization made a concerted effort at helping everyone become a match for their goals, from their thoughts to their feelings to their actions, get under the hood, don't just focus on surface level, but under the hood, they would have tremendous growth. I see it in my individual clients all the time. I work in organizations to help their teams do this, and they'll wonder why they didn't do it sooner, truly.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, as we wrap this up, if you could say anything that would be encouraging to our audience of sales professionals who are out there, some of them feel like they're banging their heads against the wall and it's frustrating and they're stuck and they're in a rut. How would you encourage our friends?
Yeah, I would encourage them first to reconnect with what you really want. I mean, this is, if you feel like you're in a cycle of frustration and stuck and banging your head against the wall, you're not in vision, you're not in inspiration. And maybe you haven't asked yourself for a long time, what do I really want? One of the things that I firmly believe and know is your desires are green lights. And we all came here to do something greater than what's been done before, that to experience life at its fullest. So forget the how, take the how out of it. You don't need to know the how right now. But if there were no consequences or limitations and we were cheersing 6 months from now and your life had quantum leap, what would you want? What would you love? The way that I think about that, I'm a spiritual person, is the word desire literally means of the Father. If you break it down, the etymology of it, I think that that's the impulse, whatever your word is, God, spirit, source, universe, higher self, that's the, whatever you want, that's the impulse of something greater than you coming through you, pointing you in the direction of where you're meant to go. And then from there, stop trying to make it happen. If you're trying to make it happen from your current level of consciousness, it's not going to. If you already knew how to make it happen, you would have. Focus instead, again, do the old personality, new personality. Who do I need to be in order for this thing to naturally unfold in my life, right? And notice, what do I get to let go of? Do I need to drop complaining? Do I need to drop victim mindset? Do I need to drop comparison? Yes, you do. If you're serious about calling these things in, you get to be a match for it. But again, the person you become in the process, who will be more truly you than ever before, that is the actual gift. And you will feel whole. You will feel your heart open again if you haven't in a long time, and your entire life will change.
Beautiful. What a great conversation. I know our listeners are thinking the same thing that Larry and I are thinking, and that is, how do we get more Elyse Archer in our lives?
Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. So two resources that I'll share here. One is, we do have a free training that walks through that process of old personality, new personality. And there's some more in there that I explain about how to turn your annual income into your monthly income. So that one is 4quadrant.elysearcher.com. 4quadrant.elysearcher.com. I teach a method in there we call the 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth. And then if anyone wants to get in touch, elysearcher.com/free call, would love to connect and just hear more about what's going on and how we can help support. So that would be it. Absolutely.
Oh, what a gift. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Wow. This was good stuff.
Thank you, Elyse. This has been incredible.
Yeah. Thank you both for having me. It was a beautiful conversation.
It sure was. Wow, Larry, what an incredible conversation. I'm just like, I don't know about you, but I feel like I want to cancel the rest of my appointments today and go sit on a rock and go through this stuff. But I'm going to do that. Maybe I won't cancel all my appointments today, but this is something I want everybody listening in to rewind, go to the website. It's in the show notes. Go through this journey. What Elyse is talking about here is incredibly profound. And if you're stuck and want to make a quantum leap forward, we all think, well, I got to do more. I got to do more. I got to do more. No, look inside and let's look at not so much doing. That's important. But let's look at the root of it, which is our being.
You said it really well. But this is where I would encourage is this. This is why, and I enjoy the wacky early mornings, like really early wacky early morning.
It's crazy, folks.
But there's a reason why, and it's what Elyse alluded to. And Darrell and I get in these deep conversations. I've been on this journey to try to figure this all out. And I'm still figuring out, just like we all are. But I'm telling you, what Elyse said is powerful. We all have the capability of doing this. You just got to be willing. We all hit it at certain moments. This might have been the wake-up call for a lot of you, but we've always made this promise. We're going to bring the right people on this podcast at the right time for the right reason, to bring some ideas to get you to think different. I think this just happened.
That's right. So thanks for joining us today. Make sure to like or subscribe. And thanks for sharing this, spreading the word, because this growing community of sales professionals all over the world is truly amazing. And if you made it this far on the show, guess what? You're a part of it. So we'll see you next time. Till then, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep building trust, discover your identity, and most of all,
sell from the heart.